Hi folks, let's look at how to build a chatbot really quick using our tool and adapter. So here's a third-party application Calendly where one can schedule meetings based on the event types. So looking here, we have got two events, a one-on-one meeting and a 30-minute meeting. Coming to the Postman, we have got the API in here. This API is from Calendly and is also used to get the event types of a user. So by the response, it should return us two events, a one-on-one and a 30-minute meeting. Also, if you look at the response carefully, you have got the scheduling URL in there. These are the two things that can be used in our chatbot to get all the meetings one can schedule and also get the scheduling URL. Here to our application, you can start by creating your first project. Here you can enter your project name. So let's say Calendly schedule meeting chatbot. Let's have a description in here. Let's give in the server URL, that's api.calendly.com. And in here, you have the option to import your Swagger documentation. So let's say if you have a Swagger JSON file, you can upload it by using the choose file option in here, or you can also add it via the fetch Swagger URL option in here. Since we have neither of that, we'll create our empty project. Coming in here, we have got our project all set up. We have the project created, but there is no API in it. So if you go in your view APIs, you see that there are no API endpoints found in this project. So you can add your API manually, or you can import it from curl, or even you have the option to batch upload the APIs. Let's look at how the curl option works here. In here, you have to paste your curl command. So let's say, let me paste my curl command and let me pass and fill it out. So this has been passed and filled out. So if you look in here, the basic details of the API endpoint, it's a get method, yeah. So you can see all these parameters have been beautifully entered in this form out here by just the curl command. So if you see in here path, let's correct the paths out, and if you see the function name, get event types user, and let us remove all this. You see in here the description, the API endpoint for API Calendly event types user, this thing. Let's remove this out. So this is an API endpoint for event types. Coming in here, let's see the request part. So since you have nothing in the request schema here, so the request schema is empty in here. Coming to the response schema, in here we'll have to generate the response schema. So let's go to the Postman in here. Let's see how the body of the response looks like. Let me copy the response in here, and I can go in here and I can generate the schema of the response. I'll have to click on generate schema, and if I paste in here the response JSON object, I can click on generate schema and it generates the schema to me, and I get the option to apply it to editor. So this is the generated schema from the response that we got from Calendly API. You can apply this to the editor. Once you click on apply to editor, you have got this response schema filled in out in here. Coming to the parameters and headers, okay, it has got one parameter. See, it is all being filled by the curl parser that we have got out there. The description is URL parameters. You have got one string object that is user, and it's a required field. In here, when you come to the header schema, it's an authorization. You have got content type and cookie. Cookie is not required. We can remove it from there, or you can have it as well. So let's click on add API. You see here the API has been added successfully. So we have got this API endpoint in here. All right, so we have the project set up and we have got one API in there. Let's start by creating tools. So in here, you can create your tool. So we don't have any tool as of now. So let me start by creating a tool. So here in here, we'll have to select the API endpoint. So this is the API endpoint for which I want to create the tool. So in here to describe the tool logic, I can write something as link. You can take the Calendly token and the Calendly user URI from the env. So this env is something what is known as adapter store. So basically we'll be storing the Calendly token and the Calendly user URI in the environments. Let's start by generating the tool. I have selected the option in here of the script type to be Python. Let's generate the tool. So all right, we have got our tools generated. So in here is the details of the tool, Calendly events fetcher. So this is the description: fetches Calendly event types and scheduling links using API token and user URI. Script type is Python. The input schema is nothing, so because we won't be passing anything into the input. Coming to the Python script, you have got in here the Python script that was generated by the. So in here you can see Calendly token is env.get Calendly token, Calendly user URI is env.get Calendly user URI, and looks like correct. So this Python script is being generated by the is generated by us. So basically, whatever description you type in here, based on that, we get the Python script generated from the backend, and we can save this tool. So we have got the tool created. At this dashboard, you can see all of your tools. You even have the option to edit your tools. So if you click in here, you can edit your tools, or maybe you can add a new branch for your tool. So this is the option to edit the tool that we have. So we have main branch of the Calendly events fetcher tool. So if you click on this edit option, you get this edit page open. So you can reselect the API endpoints, you can redescribe your tool logic and regenerate it once again. You also have the option to rename your tool that has been generated by the backend that we have. You can also change the description of it, and you can also change the input schema if you want, if at all you want to pass anything as an input. And this is the Python script. So let's talk about this env.get a little bit more. So you can see here all the environment variables that have been used that are Calendly token and Calendly user URI. So talking about these environment variables, for now, think of it as something known as tools adapter store. So basically whatever adapter we have a store for it, and all these environment variables will be storing in there. So think of it something as an adapter store. So let's start by creating a file in the examples folder that we have got down here. Let's name it as something as OpenAI chatbot calendly.js. Yeah, so let's start by importing the OpenAI imports, and let us also import our OpenAI adapter that we have got from the Reactor OpenAPI tools. Let us also import the .env and the readline functions to create the chatbot, and also Axios and log and exit processes just to create a chatbot. So I've imported all the imports in that. Let us create a simple readline interface. This is to make the terminal more interactive, and you can basically write in and get the output from the terminal. So let us start by defining our async function main. So we have got the asynchronous function main. Let's initialize our OpenAI client. So basically this OpenAI client, you can pass in our adapter, and this OpenAI client will be used to So we have got the tool adapter in here, and this API key can be found in our platform. This API key is used to create the adapter. And coming down, this is the most important part where we are setting the environment variables. So in here you can see that I have set up the environment variables. So these are my two environment variables, Calendly token and Calendly user URI. So this tools adapter.add environment variable is the adapter store that we were talking about. So this Calendly token and this Calendly user URI will be stored in the adapter store of this tools adapter. Now let's start by creating the chatbot. So this is my chatbot. So we have got the tools adapter.create OpenAI chatbot. In here you are passing the OpenAI client that we created in here, and you can pass the LLM config that use GPT-4o model, temperature, the max tokens, and the system part. Basically you are a helpful assistant that can interact with the open Calendly API. You can retrieve event types and the information from Calendly, and in options you can pass the tool names. So if you don't pass this options, the chatbot will fetch all the tools and it'll start searching from those tools on which tool to use. So passing these options, you just narrow down the options that this chatbot has to select the tools. So coming in here to the so this was our let's go to the tools in here and let's see the tool name. So this was our tool name, so this should be passed in here. So I pass the tool names in here, And that's it. The chatbot is created. Now let's console that the chatbot is ready. Type exit to quit. And let's have a while loop for simple conversation. So this in here is my while loop. So this is while true, that you await for the input from the console, and then if the console's input is exit, you just break it out of the loop and just try in here, and result equals await chatbot.invoke. So this is the chatbot object that we created using await tools adapter dot create OpenAI chatbot. And once you invoke the input, you can do result.text to get the text of the output. And in here you can see that if the response status is 401, authentication expired, and else break or console error, the error message. Uh, let's also close the real-time terminal, and let's have a catch method for our main. So this is the Calendly chatbot. Let's try running it. Node. Yeah. Okay, so it has initialized our tool adapter, fetching tools from API, added environment variables, Calendly token, and Calendly user URI. So these were the adapter store that I was talking about. So these both are stored in the adapter store. And if you come in here, the Python is available. Okay, fetching one tools, tool fetched, created executor for tool. So you see in here, all these logging is just because we have this extensive logging because we have given verbals equals true in the tools adapter. And yeah, the chatbot is ready. Let's start typing. Hi, how are you? I wanted to know about all the meetings that I can schedule. So it says that you have got two. So these in here, this is the response that we have got. So if you see in here the assistant, the chatbot, this is what the chatbot has replied. You can schedule the following meetings: a 30-minute meeting and a one-to-one. So let me ask for a specific meeting link that can be, can you give me the meeting link and say me the duration of the one-to-one meeting. See in here, it's calling the API. It's saying the one-to-one meeting has a duration of 30 minutes. You can schedule it using the following link. And we have got this link to schedule our meeting. That's it. We have created a chatbot in just under 5 minutes. Thank you. So now our platform setup is all done. Now we can jump into the VS Code and see how we can use our adapter to create a chatbot out of it in just 2 minutes.